me. I'm just going to... I remember what I said to you. Hello, everyone! It's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Talkin' Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's Up. This time we're going over episode 37, Bird Brain. I had to look at the title because I already forgot it. But thank you for being here. Thank you for making us a part of your Wednesday evenings. As always, we are always live around this time on Wednesday nights. Nick T, unfortunately, was not able to join us. He is taking COVID protocols, I would say. He's got something going on this weekend, a family thing, so he doesn't really want to risk it. Completely understandable. We're finally COVID-free in the house, so we're back together.
We are back.
And Calibro left for Florida this morning.
Literally for like a month.
So Calibro, yeah, Calibro does not have a return date at the time of doing this, so we don't know the next time we're going to see Calibro. He hasn't been on this segment for months now. So
it's been
probably
a few weeks,
probably early 30s, I would say.
Yeah, it's been a while.
He got very busy with work, so Calibro will be gone for the foreseeable future. Again, we have no return date on him.
Yeah.
Nick T will be back next week, but Pete, thank you for coming out in this cold Jersey weather. Actually, it wasn't too bad today.
It wasn't too bad today.
Wasn't horrible, but how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me. I'm just enjoying my vacation that I'm on right now from work.
Yes.
So I've had off for the whole week, so I'm just excited to talk about this episode.
Good, me too. So this was episode 37. For those of you that are unaware, it's pretty much all but confirmed that this is going to be a 13-episode arc, which means this arc is going to be done and dusted at the end of episode 39. We know Yugioh versus Asana is going to start next week. That is going to be a two-parter, so obviously we are all going to be making our predictions on that duel. Make sure to send in your predictions for the pick'em before the duel starts, because once that duel starts, picks are closed off until the duel finishes, which will be when this arc comes to an end. But we have a lot to talk about regarding this episode, regarding the season finale duel coming up. And before we get into it, I do want to thank every single one of you that took the time to donate in the last episode. It was one of the most donations we have gotten in a 7's Up podcast, and the fact that we were all remote, it was crazy. So you guys really just showed incredible selflessness and gratitude that I am super thankful for. So big thank you to Mega Karibo, Kaio Cesar Campos, Kai Waters, XSlayer64, Electric Kevin, Goose 15, Davis Enos, Devante, Anonymous Anime Lover, Syn Cloud, Nicholas Horton, Drone the President Controller, Solid Snack, Alan Wilkinson, Shark King 101, Adola Burst, Sean Gilbride, and Ice Aiden. Thank you all so much for choosing to support me in that way. You don't know what it means to me. Well, I'll tell you, it means the world. Thank you. Episode 37. I haven't done a review on this. To be honest, I'm probably not going to do a review on this, so this is kind of going to count as my review. I'll probably even put this actually in the playlist for episode reviews, because I'm just going to be giving my thoughts here.
You have to, like, clip it out.
Yeah, I could actually do that, and do it as an unlisted or something. And the reason for that is, the subs were a little delayed, which is completely cool, and I just felt like there isn't really too much for me to say on this episode in particular. To be honest, I'll do my opening thoughts if that's cool.
Yeah, dude.
Why
don't you start us off?
Oh, I'll start. Thank you, dude. Thank you. Right, you and Nick T have to replace that because Caliber's gone now.
Because we don't have Cal.
Yeah, he's my transition man. So, episode 37, obviously Rook beats the Pigeon and Schwer. I have to say I was not a huge fan of the episode. It was an okay episode. I thought there were some moments that were great, including the backstory of Schwer and the Pigeon. That actually hit me. I'm a sucker for anything animal related, so that was, I thought, very sad. But even when the tone changes in this episode were very drastic, I thought. The entire episode was very comedic, which so was Ron's versus Rinosuke, and the comedy didn't really land as much for me in this episode. And this was the first time in the show where Rook as a character, and I'm not sure your opinion on it, actually started to annoy me a little bit. And I've never really felt that way with Rook before. And I do feel like he's always been dumb, right? Like, he's always been dumb. But I think back to, like, the ramen stuff, where, remember, he went in and he ate all the ramen, and so the stuff they were... But, like, that was funny, and it was more him being clueless rather than him being just, like, stupid, I feel bad calling him stupid because I think that's kind of a mean, outdated term. So I think dumb is just kind of better. But there were just a lot of things in this episode that felt like it was up a notch compared to what we've seen with Rook. And a scene that actually really annoyed me was right after they showed the Schwer Dove backstory with Asana and Asana's grandfather rescuing them, which I loved. Then you had Rook, he wasn't taunting them on purpose, but it almost felt that way. Yeah. You had the sad music still playing, and then Rook was cooing away. And it's like, all right, give us a chance to feel sorry for this character. Give us a chance to see a little more. To connect, and to see a little more of what Asana and her grandfather did when they found these characters. Did they bring them back to their house? Did they take care of them? The one thing that I love about that scene is it makes you as the viewer understand why Schwer has this undying loyalty to Asana. I would too if she saved me and my pet from hypothermia. I mean, that's a very brutal scene when you really think about it, being buried under the snow. And the fact that Dove called Schwer a crybaby implies that he was probably crying as it was happening. So it was you also assume they're young. I mean, even if you're older, I think it's still probably a tough thing to go through. But that scene hit home, and that was a very serious tone. It switched like that, which is okay. We've seen that with Yu-Gi-Oh! Before, but then it almost immediately, before we could really get into it, switched back to that comedy and Rook just being a goofball. Yeah. And it just didn't really fit, I thought, at that moment. And so the tonal switches, and then they all walk away, and we see the angels over the bodies. We know they're not dead, but over the unconscious bodies of the Dove and Schwer. And it just felt weird, because then we were back to the feeling of, oh man, we should be really sad about this, but we just had Rook and Yuga have that comedic moment with the gang. So I don't know, the tonal shifts were very drastic for me in this episode, and the tropes of this duel reminded me a lot of what happened in the Schrodinger duel, and you guys know very well that probably was my least favorite episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. I feel like we always, and listen, by the way, obviously I am not bashing the show as a whole. I am still really enjoying Sevens, and there's plenty of episodes from every single Yu-Gi-Oh! That I can think of that I thought were just, that didn't really do it for me. And this was one, and I'm just being honest. And it really has nothing to do with the fact that he dueled an animal. Let me say that. Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is weird. So I want to actually preface with that. I hope nobody thinks that I'm ripping the show for having Rook duel a pigeon. I'm very happy he didn't lose to a pigeon. That would have been a different story. But I would have
been here by yourself.
I would have been here by myself. Yeah, Pete would have been doing, talking, what would it, Sevens Down on Clueless Gamers at the same time, competing shows. So that would have been pretty interesting. I'm not in any way ripping the decision to have him duel a bird. I really didn't mind it. Because if you think about it, Yu-Gi-Oh's always done weird stuff like that. GX, think about GX. Jaden dueled a monkey.
I try not to think about it.
Jaden dueled a monkey. Jaden dueled Jinzo, which was a malicious spirit brought back from its death through a Ouija board. And then he got onto a cruise ship. Like, listen, GX was weird.
Oh, remember he prevented the professor from leaving because he was on the cruise ship?
Yeah, and then he busts into the dorm and kidnaps the guy.
Kicked him down the door and took him.
We've seen our fair share of episodes that make no sense. And Rook dueling a bird is not at all the reason that I didn't really like the episode. It's not at all. Rook is a character, I don't know, his stock went down for me in this episode. I was
going down for a while.
Yeah, I was genuinely annoyed. Like, I would still say he's the best duelist, but I don't like that they followed the same pattern that they followed in that Schrodinger duel, where Rook was doubting his abilities, much like he was against Schrodinger, and then Yuga had to pull him out of that darkness and say, hey, you can do it, you can rush duel, you're great. Yeah. And I love that. Yuga's great. Yuga's my favorite of the four. And he knows everything. So
I like that he could just transcend, like, different realities. Like, he's in a mind labyrinth, he could just walk in.
Yeah.
Does that even mean? I have no idea.
Oh, no, I don't know either. No, I feel like Yuga is almost, like, honestly a god in this universe. And I really love Yuga. But that felt formulaic, because we've seen it before with Schrodinger. And, yeah, the comedy just didn't really hit for me in this episode. And I feel like it's kind of interesting that we had two very comedic episodes. I definitely liked Ron's and Rinosuke more than this one. And then we're going into the finals. Yikes. It feels weird pacing-wise. I will say this, though, and I'll end on a positive, because I always like to end on a positive, and usually I have nothing but good things to say. I loved the Schwer scene, by the way. Something I would have rather them done, this is my review, so I'll ramble a bit. Something I would have rather them done. And I think this would have been great if they did this. Instead of showing Yuga pulling Rook out of the darkness or out of the mental labyrinth that he was stuck in, which we've already seen him do when he dueled Schrodinger, so it's nothing new. It doesn't really do, I feel like, too much for Yuga, because we know Yuga's capable of doing this. I would have liked to see those 2 minutes dedicated to Schwer and Asana and their backstory.
Yeah.
Have us a little involved. Show Asana in a very humanizing way so that maybe we're rooting for her when she duels Yuga in this next episode or in this next duel. Maybe we understand really why she's doing this. And we understand why the Machine Cavalry Duel Club fully supports her. And maybe she is this really kind-hearted, sweet woman, and something bad happened to her grandfather, which I think we're going to learn in this duel, I hope, in this upcoming duel. And let us, sympathize with her a little bit. I thought that was a scene, the Schwer and Asana scene at the end of this episode, that definitely should have been expanded on. And when I think of all the comedic tropes that didn't really hit for me in this episode, the Luke, I am your father was one that I loved.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Any Star Wars references.
I'm happy they did that. So that was one that I did like a lot. Because, Star Wars. But, just Yuga pulling Rook out of I felt it was unnecessary. I really did. And, but, I will say this. Ending on a positive note, Yuga versus Asana, I have the utmost faith that it is going to be at the level of Yuga versus Nail round 2. Mark my words on that. I think Yuga versus Asana is going to be at the level of Yuga versus Nail. I think it's interesting, the momentum going into this.
It's a bold prediction.
It's a bold prediction, but I have faith in that. Maximums are going to be back. It's going to be an all-out war between 2 characters that I like a lot. And I'm very excited for, even though, again, I didn't love this last episode. I didn't really love the Chicago Sebastian episode besides the ending. I'm very excited for this upcoming duel. Your thoughts? I have a feeling, knowing you, probably not your cup of tea.
We watched the episode together.
Yes. We didn't really talk much about it.
We didn't really talk about it, but you could kind of see my facial expressions as I was watching it. I'm not a fan of this episode. I really honestly have not been a fan of the last 4 episodes. The Tiger episode was good, but overall in the plot it doesn't really do anything. It's kind of just wasted material. It's almost like when you have a TV show on network TV back in the day, and you had to make 22 or 24 episodes, so you have a lot of episodes in there just to fill the gaps.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like we've been doing for a month now.
Tiger Caterpillar, yeah, definitely.
And it's just I don't love that. I felt like we had a potential to go somewhere really great in this arc. And I thought, Galliant and Gakuto, it seemed like we were going somewhere there. The backstory that they were driving up with Asana, and now we're just stuck in neutral. Mm-hmm. I feel like in some ways we're going in reverse, and I thought this episode was, it probably, I don't know, the Schrodinger, all these are they just fall in. The Rons last week, they're all just forgettable. Like, there's something that I'm not going to remember when the show ends, and what they're doing to Rook's character, where we talked about a little bit briefly before we started. It's like
just more shock.
Yeah, episode 1 and the few episodes, like you said, like he wasn't like this, and he's still an incredibly powerful duelist.
He was always dumb.
Yeah, but like he was like naive.
Right.
Now he is literally to the point where I'm like, is he okay? Like, there is some things there that you should not be believing. He believed every one of the lies that Schwer gave to him.
Yeah.
I'm your father. How would that even work?
Right.
You're the same age.
Right.
I mean, like, there's so many things that just it takes away from how great of a duelist he really is and can be, and it just takes me out of the show. And I know it doesn't really hit our demographic, and I get that.
Right, that's important to say. Obviously,
and all
it's
that
not targeted.
I understand that, but at the same time, you could argue a Vrains or something is not really our demographic, right? It's more like 15, 16-year-olds.
That's true.
I felt way more compelled there. I feel way more compelled watching the original trilogy than I do this, and it's just I'm just hoping for a big finale to this arc, man, because I feel like with Neil, there was hints there leading up to the Providence that someone infected Kaizo that we had of like, who is this?
You felt like Neil was a threat,
right? And we built it. It felt earned. So when we see him finally, he wipes the top of Hexagon and Yuga in the same episode, and we're like, wow, this guy's got our attention,
right?
And then even though it's a quick turnaround to when they duel again, I felt that Yugioh went through some trials, and I understood his pain, and then it's revealed what his group gives up for him even to have this opportunity to duel Neil.
Yeah.
That feels just a way more cohesive arc and story, and then you set this up, and it's like, I don't feel like I know much about this crew. And even if I learn it next episode, she's defeated more than likely in 39.
Yeah.
Okay, like, you know, I don't know. It's just... I'm not a fan of that.
The only character that I feel like I know enough about is Galliant. I feel like I know enough about him.
And he's actually grown on me as a character.
I like Galliant a lot.
Where I'm like, this guy has a sense of honor.
Yeah.
There's something here where, you know, they make fun of his age, but I honestly think he has deep ties to Asana, maybe as a father, like, kind of, or older brother figure. Like, there's more I want to know there.
Yeah.
And Asana, I think, is a fascinating character.
I like Asana a lot, but we just don't know a lot about her.
We're just staying away, and we're doing these just pointless things. Like, that Ron's episode last week is literally pointless to the story. At least Schwer is part of the trio.
Right.
At least him and Doverap or something.
That's the thing.
We're just wasting time.
That's the thing that is fascinating to me. The 4 episodes, the 4 duels leading, right, to this finale are Chikako versus Sebastian. Okay. I wasn't, you know. Tiger versus Caterpillar, which I liked a lot.
Good duel, but
doesn't have right. It doesn't really fit. It seems like more of an earlier arc duel.
Yeah.
And I guess this is also the challenge of having your arcs only 13 episodes.
That's like when you're introducing the group, something happens like that.
Maybe like
yeah.
It would have. I think it would have fit better in the story, that duel, when they first go off. Right after Yuga beats Asana.
Or even in the beginning,
or
where
Asana
it's
beats Yuga.
That group, the Machine Cavalry Club, is introduced through Tiger. Of like, there's a connection here.
Right.
What is this? And then you could
Something
honestly do at
dangerous
the
is
end,
coming.
you could do a scene where there's a shadowy figure, which ends up being Asana, and it's literally just her going, I didn't tell you to do that, and like kind of like putting down like his almost rebellion.
Yeah.
In doing that. And then you're like, wow, who are they?
Right.
What's going on there? When they put it there, like, you're killing the momentum that we got from Gakuto Galliant, and you just threw it out the window.
Well, that's the thing, because Gakuto Galliant, that probably to me has been the most important win that Yuga's team has gotten this arc. I think it's hard to argue that.
You could honestly argue it's been the best duel of the arc.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. Gakuto Galliant, I really like that duel, and that felt like a big overcoming win for Gakuto. That felt like he was looking for his moment, and he found his moment. And I would have had that duel probably right before Yuga Asana. I think that would have worked.
Yeah.
Because to me, Galliant always seemed like the right-hand man, not really Schwer. And I think the other issue with this episode is this was Schwer's debut episode, really, right? I mean, it mostly was. And we did get that short little backstory, which, again, for me, it hit. But it was just very short. That backstory was probably less than 40 seconds. And it was just very short. And knowing what we know, that the arc is about to end, that Schwer and his team is probably going to get defeated, felt like there was a bit of a missed opportunity there with building his character up. So, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. The structure of this arc feels weird to me. I didn't really feel that way with the first 2 arcs. In terms of the duels, I feel like the order of the duels has been strange, and they just beat Schwer. Okay, the other character,
and the choice of duels in some of these is like
the other character that they had to beat to get to Asana was Ron's,
right? Who was dueling on Galliant's behalf,
and then
for no reason.
Right.
It's
just weird.
That's better if they did it almost even
earlier.
Though they're going back to the well again. If they did it a Roman way, where that club has something on Ron's. And so it's like, it's a shock when they're like, wait, what are you doing? Why are you crossing over there? And it's like, you don't know. And as the duel goes on, it's like, well, they have this on me. To do it of like, Galliant, this older man is in love with me.
But we don't know if he's older.
Come on. He was bathing her in a bathtub, so at the least, he's at least 7, 8 years older than us.
I'll say this: that episode I found pretty hilarious. So I don't mind that episode as much as you did.
Waste of time.
I thought that episode was hilarious. I thought the whole concept of Ron's as a character was hilarious. But I would agree with you. I think it would have made sense happening earlier. Save Gakuto Galliant for the end of this. Right before Asana, Yuga. I don't know. Just the structure is interesting and. All that said, I think Asana Yuga is gonna turn heads, right? Because even Tiger saying that's not the true power of the Machine Cavalry Club, wouldn't it make sense for her to say that before Asana uses maximums? Because that could be seen right as a foreshadow, like a hint that she was going to use maximum. So And that's the line, of course, Tiger says after Caterpillar leaves and not the newspaper club interviews her. So, interesting so far. This duel needs to be great for this to not be my least favorite arc so far. That being said, there were some things about this arc that I did like, and it's still too early for us to judge this arc as a whole.
And I would imagine Asana and probably people like Galley, they're not going away, even when they lose.
I hope not.
They're in the opening. There's a reason there. There's a deeper connection to the history of how Goha was created.
Yeah.
We're pulling pieces here.
Right.
Where we see that Neil was recruited young. He's here, right? And he's part of Goha, but he doesn't really agree with them. Then we see what's going on here, that clearly Asana's grandfather and something bad happened there. We got to pull from that part. So there's different things there. And we're pulling more parts into the story arc by arc.
And I would say for someone like you, and there's a few people actually a good amount of people in my Discord who I think feel similarly. I think a lot of the characters that are heavy fan favorites are not present right now. And that's important to note. So if you felt this, which you felt a bit of a disconnect from the show for a little bit, and it could just be that the show's not really your thing and your style, and that's completely okay. But there are characters that I know you've said you really enjoy. Roa being one. I
miss Roa so much.
Nail being another. And I think a lot of people...
And I like Asana. I do.
Right. And we just haven't really seen Asana.
Yeah.
So I think that after this duel, I'm nervous. Like I was with Yugioh versus Neil.
Exactly.
We talked about it extensively. Yeah,
yeah,
we were all nervous. I think we had Entame on, and I don't think we knew about 27 at that point. And I'm pretty sure Shiosei's manager, Entame, the person who does the sub, so thank you. And I hope she had a good birthday if she's here or watching this after. She wasn't sure where we were going to go from here, but it worked out. So...
But we're always not great with this, right? I mean, we did the same thing in Vrains. We're like, where does it go here?
Sure, then I became a human.
When we clearly should have seen that the Ignis War was coming. I mean, they literally set that up. And then it was like, well, where do we go from here? And then I has the turn. So they're always doing this to us.
Yeah, well, listen, it's hard to predict what the next arc's going to be about.
Could you predict this?
Could you predict this? Great revolver line. I hope for a tournament, but we'll see. So, we're not too high on the episode.
We're just being honest.
Yeah, oh no, listen, and you guys know me. Like, I've got 37 episodes. There's probably been about 5 that I was like, it was okay. This and a couple others, I was probably like, I wasn't really a fan of it all. But a majority of them, probably 25, 30 of them, I've really enjoyed. So you guys know that I'm usually pretty positive on the episodes. But I'm, if something bothers me, or if I didn't think something was extremely well executed, I'll be honest about it. And I think we owe that to you guys, to be honest. I don't think you want us to just praise the show 24/7. We didn't do that with Vrains. There were a lot of moments with Vrains where we were a little critical.
Even afterwards, we're like, you left all these storylines just...
Yeah. Even after Vrains ended, we were very critical of it. So listen, and we both liked Vrains a lot. I know you really liked Vrains, but we were critical, so... it's just the style here. But thank you again for making Sevens Up part of your Wednesday night. Do we have any comments from people?
We do. There's a lot of opinions going on, and I believe...
this is one I'm going to be excited to read
believe
back.
You said Shiosei, and you summoned her, because she appeared right after that. So Shiosei, thank you.
Thank you for being here, Shiosei.
How are you? I hope you had a great birthday.
Yes, happy birthday. Thank you for taking the time. Well, thank your manager for taking the time to sub.
The comments, for the most part that I've seen, there's been a few people that have liked the episode, and the humor really landed for them, which is great.
Well, see, that's the thing, because the humor, going back to 36, Ron's Renasuke, the humor landed for me. So I really didn't mind that episode, but for you and Nick T, it didn't really land, so you didn't like it. This was an episode, much like 36, that relied very heavily on humor. And if the humor doesn't land, there's not too much else there to back it up. Yeah. You have that sad backstory, which... I really did not like how they disturbed that backstory with Rook cuckooing while the sad music was still playing. That made me really annoyed.
As soon as the scene is going on.
Yeah, almost like he was mocking the whole... They didn't even go to check if he was okay.
No, they left him there.
Yeah, that annoyed me. From Rook's perspective, that annoyed me. But, I think this is one where, again, if the humor lands... Which it didn't land for me as much as it landed in 36. But then you like it.
That's what makes television and entertainment subjective, and I think that's a good thing. I do see, though, overwhelming a lot of people are not huge about the episode.
So
they're not exactly high. And then pretty much everyone so far that I've agreed. Some people obviously love Rook. But there's a lot of people that are not liking where his character is going.
Before I watched this episode, I saw in my Discord, and it was very surprising, a lot of people saying, wow, Rook, I really do not like Rook at all after this episode. I'm like, really? Rook was, and after watching the episode, I was like, I'm not at that level, but I get it. I get the frustration. I get the frustration. And I think the fandom over in Japan kind of has a similar, not about Rook, but about this episode. Nico, only 82% of people gave this a very good rating on Nico, which is still really good, 82%.
Yeah, really good.
But usually Sevens is hovering in the low 90s, high 80s.
Yeah.
I think, not including episode 1, this was the lowest rated episode from Nico in Japan. So I think this was an episode that just missed for a lot of people.
It was just unfortunate, right?
But again, the flashback was exactly what they did in the Schrodinger duel.
Yeah, and it's just, for me also, like, Rook, Luke, however you want to say it, like, he is, at this moment, the most talented duelist.
I'd agree with that.
In this show.
If I had to make my power rankings, he's number one.
And to me, at the moment, even though I do like Yugioh dueling, and I like Neil dueling, he's the most entertaining duelist for me.
Yeah.
When he's on his game and that music kicks in, I'm like, damn, like, this is where the show could be. And then it just gets undercut by giving him some throwaway line or some ridiculous reaction. And I'm like, well, you just ruined that moment. And they did that like 3 times.
Yeah, this episode felt a little much.
And it's like, I don't even understand, because it was a little confusing of, like, he's in a mind labyrinth, right? But it doesn't feel like the Schrodinger duel where he's outright questioning himself. It seems that the Dove rap, like, had some influence on him.
Yeah.
So, like, is that telepathy? Is it just intimidation? Like, what is that? I don't understand. And how does Yugioh reach him? Is that just a manifestation of Rook's mind? I don't know. We just do whatever on the show.
Well, that's yeah.
Yeah. So it's just his bits are getting old. They really are.
Yeah, I don't even know if I would say that.
Remember, what's the only other duel of his in this entire arc?
It was he had 2, actually. He dueled himself, and he dueled against Django.
Right, but the Django one was the only legitimate one. Think about it. He also dueled himself.
But when he dueled himself, I gotta be honest, that might
have been the most character development.
That was probably my favorite episode of Rook.
Yeah.
So this arc for Rook started out incredibly well, and I just feel like, again, I feel like there's 2 writers on the team that are trying to, like, outperform one another and see who can make him a dumber character. Like, it's a contest.
I really feel like somebody stepped in, like, when Brains, like, when the director changed and you could see it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a writer came in and was like, listen, this Rook character, he's too close to being like Yugioh. We got to dumb him down.
Yeah, which
and they made him the comedic relief, and it's like, well, if you do that too much, you undercut the character's momentum and everything the character could be. Now that could change. 40 episodes from now, he could be my favorite character again. But right now, every time he comes on, he's just a joke unless he's dueling. Even when he is dueling, I'd rather him just not speak. It just ruins the scenes for me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, he still has some funny moments, but yeah, I get the frustration with him. I'm not where you are yet on him, but I get the frustration, and a lot of people I know that are watching the show feel similarly about him.
I also felt like, with Roman, this arc, I think she hasn't been treated that great.
Oh my God.
She's been given nothing to do.
Roman,
this entire arc. So that's another thing that I'm not...
Roman low-key. This arc has been great for women, by the way. This arc was great for girl characters. Asana beating Yugioh, Tiger getting 2 duels and a win, Chikako getting a win, Ron's getting 2 duels and a draw. This duel was great for girl characters, but Sushiko getting a duel and a win. But Roman, low-key, had a miserable arc. And low-key, absolutely did nothing except lose to Sushiko. But who had good arcs? I thought Yugioh's always just entertaining. Gakuto had a phenomenal arc.
I think Gakuto had a
really good arc for Gakuto. And I would say Asana was really cool. Tiger, great introduction there. She was awesome.
I want more with Asana. There's got to be more past.
I think we'll get it. I'm telling you, I really do believe that this next duel is going to be a banger. I
think it could be. Maximum's going on. There could be something.
I think this duel is going to be a banger.
It looks emotional in the preview.
Yeah, I really do. And then I think that right when this duel ends, you know what we do in 40? they're going to bring back Roa. And then all our problems are solved. When Roa comes back in.
And then he looks up at the sky and he goes, "What's that?" And it ends, and it's the alien invasion of the ramen people.
That's where they're going to go.
That's where they're going.
I like that. That's a good one. All right. We'll take some donations if we have any.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm actually really, really interested to go back and read these. I never read these in live time because it's just too distracting for my small brain. I would get too distracted and flustered.
It is ADHD.
Yeah, undiagnosed, but probably. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what you guys are saying about the episode. But yeah, let's read some donations. Let's see where the mood is.
Let's jump into some donos.
Yes, and thank you guys so much for choosing to support me this way. Thank you.
We're gonna start off with X-Layer, who donated before we started.
Yes,
he donated $20.
X-Layer, you're the best. Thank you, man.
And he said, "Hi everyone, hope your day has been going great.
Yeah.
This episode was like an acid trip I had never been on, but oh my god, Rook is now officially my least favorite character of the show due to his stupidity. Also, Spidey hype, which is something we could also talk about.
Yes, Spider-Man title got released.
Yes.
Never Return Home.
It's like No Way Home.
No Way Home.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. We'll definitely talk more about that X-Layer maybe on a Twitch stream coming up. But thank you for the $20 donation. That is a big donation, X-Layer. Thank you so much. Rook's your least favorite character. Yeah, I mean, listen, that was a sentiment that I've seen a lot on Twitter. I've seen it a lot on...
He's not wrong.
This was an episode that really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way with Rook.
Yeah.
So...
In particular, as you said, that final scene, which were kind of just the writer's choice there to have
that scene,
like
was
why you have the music and the sad music.
It's an impactful scene.
Was playing
yeah.
while the jokes were going on. So
yeah.
it was like they literally just broke the fourth wall and were like, "Yeah, we're just ruining the scene." And I'm like, "Well, I want to know more about what's going on there and appreciate this moment." And no.
That one, I didn't get that at all. It's
a weird writing.
That was a decision from the episode I really did not get. I did not think that was a good decision to do that. Yeah. Just weird. The tonal shift there at the end was too intense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And I don't know. I just feel like also it's disrespecting your opponent a little bit.
No, it is. It definitely is. And just
to not even go over and check on him, and he showed good respect towards Django when he defeated Django. So like I don't know. That was even a little out of character, I thought, for him, with what we've seen Rook do to opponents that he's defeated before. So like, I don't know, it was just weird. It was a weird episode that at times just didn't even really make sense and fit with, I thought, a lot of decisions Rook has made in the past. So it's just weird to me.
Shiose did point out and said, wondering if they're trying to make him unlikable to set him up for a betrayal arc later.
Wow. That's interesting.
An interesting point.
Very interesting.
An interesting point.
Because, the show, the one thing, you can say whatever you want about the show, they do have a very good, solid idea of what they're doing.
They're cohesive.
Very cohesive.
When they say something, they will get back to it.
So I wonder if... I remember we did see kind of a more evil-looking Rook at the beginning of this arc when he dueled himself. I like that theory. That's an interesting theory.
That's a possibility.
Something to keep an eye on. It would make sense. It would look back and it'd be like, wow, that's why they wanted us to hate him.
Yeah.
But Shiose, thank you for the comment. X-Slayer, thank you so much for the donation, my man.
Nicholas Horton donated £5 and
thank
said,
you, Nick.
I really wanted this arc to be a longer arc, as did I,
yeah.
But it seems to be only 13 episodes again, like the previous 2 arcs.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that...
It's getting formulaic.
But with Roa and Nail, like, it's understandable, right? Because they're one character. So you have 13 episodes to really focus and build up to one character. When you introduced Goha 6th and the Machine Cavalry Duel Club, you're introducing 3 separate, important characters. 13 episodes is just not a long enough time, especially if you're going to have duels like Tiger Caterpillar, Chicago Sebastian. If you're going to have duels like that, that right there, by the way, is about 20% of the arc. It's about 15% of the arc.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, like, you do not have a lot of time. And Roman Tsushiko dueling over the TV remote. That right there is a fourth of the arc.
Yeah.
3 out of 13 episodes. Mm-hmm. Right there. And you have 3 characters that you want the audience to connect with. So... I know, it feels quick. I wish it was longer. It doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be a traditional Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc of 50, 60, 70 episodes. 26.
You could do
26
something
episodes.
Great in 13 episodes if everything is, for the most part, hard-hitting, plot-driven.
Right.
We're getting great duels, even with some comedy sprinkled in. But
Right.
think about it. We cut out the remote duel. We cut out the Finger Chicago duel. We cut out Ron's, and we cut out this last episode. I mean, you put in, 4 episodes there of some nice plot?
Yeah.
Now you go, wow, this might be the best episode, best arc in the show so far.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to think about that.
It's just hard for any show to build up 3 characters like that, especially in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
You know, because this is not a traditional anime. I know people will say, Death Parade, the poster's off the wall, but I'm looking around, one of my favorite, probably my favorite anime ever is Death Parade. It's a 13-episode anime. So obviously there's more than 3 characters in that show. Yes, it's possible. With Yu-Gi-Oh! It's always going to be more difficult because you have to focus 80% of the episode on the duels. So you have less time. So really, a 13-episode arc in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is really only about 5 episodes of plot-driven stuff.
Yeah, that's a tight window.
It's tight. It's hard to do. And so I think, Nicholas, if you expand this arc a little bit, you make it 20 episodes, I think you have enough time to do what you wanted to do. But it does feel a bit rushed. And we'll see what happens. I'm still very hopeful, Yuga Asana. I'm very hyped for it. I think it's going to be a good duel. But thank you, Nicholas, for the donation.
It's an interesting comment here. Zero writes, did anyone get the reference in the ending? It's a Dog of Flanders reference, which I just looked up. It's like an old Japanese anime show. Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah, it's the scene where the angels are looking over the huddled bodies. Yeah, it absolutely is a reference to that Dog of Flanders. I had seen someone pointed that out, Zero. But yeah, thank you for mentioning it. We hadn't mentioned it tonight. Cool reference. We love our Easter eggs, and Sevens is littered with them, which is always cool.
Yeah, they do a good job, even when they throw in a monster from a previous show. They really do a good job.
Yeah, like the Typhone monster today that they threw in. Yeah, they do a good job with that.
Oh, that's right. They did do that.
Yeah, very old monster.
Solid Snack donated $5 Canadian dollars and said, super fun episode. Doverap the GOAT. Worried about the next 2 episodes, but could be a great duel. I wonder what the 4th arc will be. Hope there's more Mimi and Roa. I definitely think we're getting more Mimi.
Oh, I think we're getting more Roa too. Yeah, 4th arc, I think we're going to get more Mimi. I think Mimi's going to become more corrupted by the helmet, and I think she could be the final villain.
What's her and what's the drone, right?
Right. So I think we're going to get that in the next episode. And yeah, that's the thing. If the comedy landed for you in this episode, Sora, you probably really enjoyed it. This was a very comedic-based episode where either the comedy hits or it doesn't. And, Sevens is obviously majority comedy, but there have been other duels that have used comedic moments. Roman Sushiko is, for instance, there were a lot of comedic moments in that, but there were other aspects of that duel and that episode that you could fall back on and enjoy. Yeah. Yuga and Asana's scene, right? Mm-hmm. Asana's scene at the end under the blood moon with her crew.
That's right.
And even Roman and Sushiko just having those exchanges and Sushiko getting the win and talking about Guitarist M. And even in that episode, Rook, remember he turned the TV channel. He was even an idiot.
Yeah.
Everything. Rook does everything. So, this was a very comedic heavy episode. But Solid Snack, I'm happy you enjoyed it, and thank you for the donation.
Absolutely. You guys are donating a lot, so let me scroll back.
Thank you, guys.
Kaio is here.
Kaio is crazy.
Yeah, donated his $5 Brazilian.
Thank you, Kaio.
And said the duel was great. Luke could have lost as the pigeon duel style counters almost all of his moves.
Yeah.
Also, what a punch that snow scene.
Yeah, that snow scene was great. That snow scene was great. Yeah, the duel, we haven't even really talked about that because I feel like the characterization kind of...
The duel was pretty interesting.
The duel was not bad. I did not mind the duel at all. I would agree with Kaio.
It makes more sense to, instead of go mano-a-mano with Rook's style and try to match him for power, it makes more sense to try to trap and trick him.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way to slowly get to him.
Yeah.
And he almost was successful. He got him down to 200 life points.
Yeah,
so.
Dueling action was really good. Kaio, thank you so much for the donation, man. Really appreciate it.
Sean Gilbride's here.
1111?
Yep, donated his 1111 and said...
Thank you, Sean.
It said, my family, quote, go outside and get fresh air. It's finally above 40 degrees. Me, who needs fresh air when Yu-Gi-Oh exists and I own every Yu-Gi-Oh DVD?
Wow. Well, that is a great point, Sean. I hope when the weather gets a little warmer than 40 degrees, which is Fahrenheit for you people watching over in Europe, does South America use Celsius as well?
No, pretty much everywhere in the world uses Celsius but us.
Oh, okay. So to anyone that's not in the United States, we're not talking 40 degrees Celsius. It's not that warm. It's actually, it's 40 degrees Celsius. Would that kill you? How warm is that?
I don't know.
That might be like 150 degrees.
Guaranteed it's boiling.
Like 40 degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit. It's cold. It's only 8 degrees above freezing, if that makes. So it's probably like 3 degrees Celsius.
So it's always funny too, where it's like, yeah, go outside. It's 40, and it's like, yeah, that's how bad it's been here.
Yeah,
like, especially here in the East Coast and in the middle of the country for all you Texans. Like 40 degrees is a blessing.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Summer cannot come soon enough. But Sean, enjoy your Yu-Gi-Oh DVDs.
Yeah,
Thank you for the donation.
40 Celsius would be hot because 100 Celsius is boiling. So
okay.
That's probably the temperature you boil water at is 100 Celsius.
Yeah.
So we definitely don't want to get that.
Hold on. Why do we use Fahrenheit, by the way?
It's an old, outdated... It's the same way of why... It's part of the metric system, where we're not on the metric system.
It'd be 104. That's like Florida in the summer.
Yeah.
That's not... Or Jersey in the summer, even.
It's like how we use miles instead of kilometers
Yeah.
and pounds instead of kilograms and all that.
It's annoying.
Yeah, we almost changed over in the 70s, and then we realized it would be too expensive to change all of our signs throughout the country. So they axed it.
Good.
And that was that.
Good. Yeah, life's fun.
Yeah. U.S.
Love it, dude.
Zypher donated £5.
Zephyr, thank you so much, man.
And said,
thank you.
What would your thoughts be if Luke became a much more serious character like his other self he dueled when he went to that other world?
I would like it.
I'd be totally down.
And you know what I wouldn't mind? I wouldn't mind, and I feel like this was the case with Rook early in the show, I wouldn't mind him being a bit of a buffoon when he's not dueling.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he duels, he's able to kind of flip the switch, you know, and he's able to be serious. Like, we've seen very serious turns and serious moments from him before. Obviously, he loves rush duels. He loves promoting rush duels. We saw that in his backstory episode early in this arc. And when he dueled himself, even when his other self was furious, he was very serious in that duel as well. So I would like that a lot. It doesn't even need to be all the time. Like, I'd still love for him to be a goofball outside of the duels and for him to be the main, like, comedic person. I wouldn't have any issue with that, but... You know, I would like him to be a little more serious.
I would love if he was that serious self that he was. I really would.
Like, if he duels Roa, I want that to be like an intense, where maybe they can poke fun at each other, like, you know, where Roa will, but not have scenes where Rook is having like a mental breakdown on the field. Because we've seen that now twice.
And roll in a literal ball.
Yeah, we've seen it twice in, really, not counting the duel against Otis and not counting the duel against himself. 2 of his last 3 duels, unless I'm wrong about that, oh, no, because he dueled Arata after Schrodinger, so I am wrong about that.
What a meaningful duel.
But 2 of his last 4 duels, he's had, like, a breakdown that Yugas had to pull him out of.
Yep.
The first time it was cool, but, like, now it's...
Well, he had a breakdown going into the Arata duel because remember he was locked in a cage.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, my God.
It was supposed to be Roman. So, like, stuff like that he's used for, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
That's funny to me, but, like...
Well, remember the problem he got them in when he broke all the screens and he went into that room. He ate all the food.
Yeah, yeah.
He's just a mess, man.
He's becoming more of a mess as the show goes on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ice Aiden donated $2.
Thank you, Ice.
And said, "I'm tired if this duel of this duel. I guess he meant let's go back to Asana." Yeah, absolutely. Agree.
Yeah, there you go.
100% agree.
Ice Aiden, and we share the sentiment, man. And we are going back to Asana, so don't you worry. In Asana, we trust, as I say. Ice Aiden, thank you for the donation.
You just started saying it. Janeth Ernest donated $5 Canadian.
Thank you, Janeth.
And said, "Hey Dylan, I'm playing, I assume she meant planning to start my own channel, and I was wondering if you would be interested in a video on how Vrains impacted the Yu-Gi-Oh meta."
100%. Janeth, first of all, thank you for the donation. Good luck on starting the channel. I don't know if I'm the best person to do that channel with you, and I say that because I don't really know enough about the Yu-Gi-Oh meta and the history of the Yu-Gi-Oh meta. I know Firewall Dragon obviously was an issue. Gokis were great. Altergeists were great. Trickstars were great. There was a lot of really, really good, potent decks that did affect the meta, but Salomon Greats. But I don't think I know enough in depth about it. Where I would be able to help you with that. It would just be a very basic understanding. But yeah, hit me up, Janeth. Message me on Twitter. If you're in the Discord, message me on Discord. I'd love to help you. I love helping people with any sort of videos if they want to have me. And Janeth, thank you for the donation. I really appreciate it.
Jump back here. Nicholas Horton donated another £10.
Thank you, Nicholas.
And said, "I'm not happy that Roman didn't duel any of the Machine Cavalry Club members during this arc, and Sevens doesn't really have a villain threat like all of the previous shows had, i.e. a world-ending scenario." Well, I mean, we're only...
Not yet.
We're only, what, 37 episodes in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still early.
You know what's crazy? I'm thinking about it now. Every single Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe besides the original, has by this point established a world-ending possibility.
Did they really?
Yeah. 37 episodes in for GX, 5D, Zale.
So I'm literally
Arc
I'm about to reach that point.
You're about to reach that point where there's something there that is going to destroy the world. So actually,
Great.
Sevens is a little behind in that regard. I don't know if we're ever going to get that, to be honest. Mr. Goa brings the biggest potential of that happening, or maybe a threat that we have not seen yet. But I don't know if we're going to get that, Nicholas. I don't know, man. We'll see. I think Sevens, when it's all said and done, is going to be unique in a lot of its regards. And I don't know if they would do a world-ending threat in this show. And they don't have to. They definitely don't have to. That's obviously not what defines a good Yu-Gi-Oh show. I mean, look at Arc 5. All right, next donation. Sorry to any big Arc 5 fan out there. Listen, you guys know how I feel about Arc 5. I don't hate Arc 5, obviously, but the ending was very disappointing.
Could have been one of the great shows, man. Could have been the greatest.
Yeah, 50 episodes in, when they after a great start, when they announced that Jack and Crow were going to be in the Synchro dimension, I was like, this is going to be the best Yu-Gi-Oh ever, easily, hands down. And legacy characters, ironically, might have been the reason that it went downhill so quickly.
Yeah.
Among a lot of things. Battle Beast did not help. So I gotta mention Battle Beast.
Check out that video. X-Layer donated another $5.
X-Layer, thank you,
It said,
dude.
Dylan, what was the longest episodes a protagonist had never dueled? So I guess the longest between, like, episodes.
Oh, boy. Yusaku.
What,
between...
when he was knocked out?
No, not when he was knocked out. Between Bowman, 102, his next on-screen full duel was against I in, I think, 118.
This has, like, what,
16, 17 episodes. I know he dueled one of I's clones when Silver...
Right, but it was cut between three.
Yeah, it
of
didn't
them.
really count.
No.
I don't know if you could find a situation where a Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist went... That's a good question, X-Slayer. Off the top of my head,
good video.
I think it's Yusaku. That was a great video idea. When he dueled Bowman, and then when he dueled I think that might be the longest stretch, honestly. Yeah, which is crazy. I think that might be the longest stretch. And I remember saying that. I remember saying it's crazy that... Because I kind of became the protag in that season. That's really what happened. But,
He really was the protag at that point.
So if it started in 117, 15 episodes, then yeah, that's probably... I'd say good chance that's probably what it was. But maybe you guys... There was also a moment during Season 2 where Yusei was out of commission for a little bit. But I don't think it was 15 episodes. And then Judai, I don't think you could find 3 episodes in a row where Judai didn't have a duel in. I mean, the amount of usage that Judai got in that show. And then Yugi was used very often. Zale, Yuma was used very often. Yeah, I think it's got to be Vrains. Yusaku, probably 15 episodes. That's something that I got to look up. But
that is definitely a good question.
Great question, X-Layer. Thank you for the donation.
Alan Wilkinson donated £2 and said, dumbest Rook versus Yuga duel, wonder what happens.
Yeah, I think based on where they're going, I think if they dueled right now,
Yuga
would win. Yeah, yeah.
You can't give him another loss, especially to his homeboy.
Yeah, they're in a tricky spot with Yuga because assuming he beats Asada, is he going to go undefeated the rest of the show? Probably not.
No, but at the same time, I feel like you could make the impactful loss next arc be Rook. And, it's like, wow, this guy has not lost a single time.
When Rook loses, I agree. I agree with that fully. Thank you for the donation, Alan. I really appreciate it, man. I know it's late in the UK. Thank you for being here. We're going to do a couple more donations, and then we are going to make our picks for Yuga versus Asana Round 2. Definitely stay tuned for that.
Electric Kevin donated $5 Australian.
Thank you, Kevin.
It said, the opening showed us the 3 villains of the arc and Otis. What if Otis plays a massive role in the next arc, maybe even being the villain of that arc?
Yeah, he definitely...
It's 100% possible.
Yeah. You want to speak on that?
I think it's... Really, Otis we've only dealt with in a major way in the first arc. And I feel like we have purposely stayed away from that. And now, to have that opening shot of all of those characters, of an Asana, of a Roa, of a Yuga, all Neil was, I think, in that as well, all leading up to Otis, who we know is behind a lot of this creation of how Yuga got, Seven's Road, like all these things happening, I could easily see him being a villain. Or he thinks he's the hero against the President Drone, but he really is willing to go to the same lengths as them, and that makes him just as bad.
The thing we do not know about that scene, and Kevin, thank you for the donation. The thing we do not know about that scene, what is Otis's connection with Asana? We know that you can interpret that scene two ways, because Shiose pointed out a few weeks ago, it could be that Otis is the origin, and
they're all coming down.
They're all coming down,
right.
And they've all come from Otis's influence. So there's two different ways, but either way you interpret it, there has to be a connection between...
He's the link.
He's the link, and there has to be a connection between Asana and Otis. We know the connection between Otis and Yuga. We know the connection between Otis and Neil, and we know the connection between Otis and Roa. Yeah. What is the connection between Otis and Asana? Is that going to be revealed in this next duel? I would imagine there has to be some connection between them based on that opening shot.
Let me drop a crazy thing.
Drop it.
You ready?
Drop it. Yeah.
Otis was a Goha employee. He was a company man in line. He was a huge influence on why Asana's grandfather got thrown to the wolves and that Goha took over. He then, somewhere along the line, realized this isn't right, and he went against the company. Realizing that maybe Asana in that group is right to have that stuff, but because of that history, Asana's going to hate him.
So you think he could have a big role to play in dismantling the influence?
What if he was one of the top mans? He was one of the top people.
Well, we know he worked there.
Yeah.
We know he worked there. That's not a theory.
So, I think that could be a possibility.
Right now, I wouldn't even say that's a crazy theory.
Yeah.
I would say that makes sense.
I write for the show.
I know you do.
I'm basically just telling you what's going to happen.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm going to note it.
But I think it's a possibility.
Yeah, definitely a possibility.
And this show does a great job of linking everything together.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's a nice, tight, like a little bow we could put on this.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you for the donation, Kevin.
Kyle donated another $5 Brazilian.
Thank you so much, Kyle.
And said the father one was the most believable. Just look to Mimi and her husband. Also, imagine a duel between Rook and Yuga. Now, who's going to cheer Rook up?
Yeah, that's true. I still believe that Yuga would win if they dueled tomorrow.
Yeah, and I feel like the group would be pretty split on who to go for, right?
Oh, I think they'd all go for Yuga.
Yeah, you think? I don't think they hate Rook. He's the annoying little brother.
But who would Roman pick?
I mean, she's probably gonna pick Yuga.
Who's Gakuto going to pick?
He might just stand there.
No, I think he would pick Yuga. Who's Ron's gonna pick? Rinosuke, maybe he'll pick Rook.
What if Ron falls in love with Rook and thinks that Rook's in love with him?
Oh my god, don't even...
She has, 73 guys or whatever in the journal
73.
That could happen.
What a simp, dude. I love it. I love Ron's.
And just look to Mimi and her husband, yeah. The father one could be the most believable.
It probably is, Kyle. Honestly, it probably is, dude.
It really could.
And thank you for another donation. I still think Galleon's the father of Yugioh.
Stop it, bro. That'd be crazy, wouldn't it be?
Imagine if we get our first romance scene in the show, and Yu-Gi-Oh romance scene, and it's Galleon and Mimi.
I'd be for it. I really would be. You could really build that up. Oh my god! All right, do you want to do some picks?
Yes, let's do some picks. So we are going to get to all the rest of the donations. We always get to the donations. Every single one we get. Everyone that has donated, thank you so much. You don't know how much it helps me and how great it is. We are getting to the spoilery section. We're going to read the 38 summary, 39 summary. I will let you know right now. We can just text each other directly.
Yeah, we don't want to text those guys.
I will let you know right now that it really does not give away anything at all. It just doesn't.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
Are you ready? Yeah, send it. Let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
They
sent it to me. So again, if you want to leave, and thank you all for making this part of your Wednesday night again, leave. This is the time. We don't have the cast, which is interesting. We don't know who's speaking in these episodes. So we don't know if maybe Otis will return. We don't know. Episode 38, Maximum Unearthed. Yuga and company have found the prototype duel discs. As they've discovered the Machine Cavalry Club's secret, Asana shows up and challenges Yuga to a duel. Thus begins the decisive showdown with Rush dueling and the pride of the Machine Cavalry Duel Club at stake. Episode 39, the finale of the season. Take back the Mutsuba name's pride. Yuga and Asana are having fun with their duel. Asana wants to take back her family's pride. That's it. Very brief there.
So nothing really shocking.
No, nothing shocking. It's cool that we'll learn the secret of the club.
Yeah, which I mean, they had to.
I have a feeling that they'll discover it and they're not going to reveal it to the audience until 39. That's what I have a feeling they're going to go with.
This means, and then
right, and then Asana interrupts, and
Yeah.
Yuga's putting the pieces together as he duels her. Yeah. And maybe the secret is the ability to maximum without needing to sacrifice your dueling accounts.
Could be. Definitely could be.
I don't know.
And they had it in the old way that they dueled in the
Right.
in the Cavalry Club.
Right.
Could be.
Yeah. Or maybe he'll unearth a new... Well, no. He wouldn't do that because they would have revealed the cards if he was going to unearth like an old mechanic, like a fusion
He
or
unearths
something.
a D wheel, and then like we just.
He's gonna. Well, we had Jack's D wheel.
That's what I'm saying.
In the museum.
We know it exists.
He's gonna unearth Yusei's D wheel.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Does
The
this
history.
mean? And then Asana's gonna bust, and then they'll never go back to it. So actually, you don't even need to watch 38. We just told you what's gonna
told
happen.
you exactly what's gonna happen.
Yuga versus Asana, round 2. Who are you picking, dude?
Picking Yuga.
Okay.
I feel like to end the arc, it would be insanely shocking. I would love it, but it'd be insanely shocking if Asana beats him again. And we're gonna probably go maximum v maximum here in this episode. I think I would imagine, going to explain how Yuga gets back his maximum, and maybe how Asana has one in the first place.
Yeah.
I feel like those are things we need to answer in the next couple episodes. But yeah, by and far, if we're ending an arc, it's got to be Yuga.
Calibro and Nick T have picked Yuga. I am picking Yuga as well. So the whole crew here at Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything is picking Yuga. Same reasons you said. Listen, I will say this. I hope I'm wrong. I hope there's some shock result.
It would be awesome.
And it's going to be disappointing that, same with Nail, and it's just there's not enough time with these 13-episode arcs. They didn't duel again. I wish Nail had a second win. I wish Asana had a second win. Is it necessary? No. But I wish that both of those characters had a chance to duel someone other than the protagonist, to beat them, and then to get defeated by them. So we'll see. Asana's dueling with her family pride on the line. I think Yuga is going to be able to... The outcome of this is not going to be where Asana is going to hate Yuga. It's going to be very similar to Nail and Roa, where he'll leave an impact on their heart. That's the kind of guy that Yuga is. And then we'll move to 40. We'll see what the new threat is. But I do expect the Machine Cavalry Duel Club to take an L here. And I'm picking Yuga.
Shiose said she doesn't do pick'ems, but she puts her money on a tie draw, no result.
Wow. Well, Shiose does not participate in the pick'ems. That's okay.
Taking the bold choice.
So listen, you can listen to the 4 of us. We all picked Yuga. You can come up with your own synopsis. By the way, the 4 of us, we've been wrong many times. And actually,
but we've had a better track record when we all picked the same of late.
Oh, well, no, because we got Finger Chikako Sebastian wrong. All 4 of us picked Sebastian.
I mean, come on.
All 4 of us picked Mimi to beat Yoshio. So that all 4 of us picked Roman to beat Tsushiko.
Maybe you're right. Maybe.
Although Roman Tsushiko, not a single, 96 entries, not a single person got that one right. So
ridiculous.
I'm not going to be upset about that.
That one doesn't count.
Listen, I hope it's a tie no result. That would be cool because that would mean that they still could be a threatening group in the next season, and we just have a little bit of a break.
They're still going to be around either way.
Yeah, I agree with that. So there you go. You can listen to Shiose, who subs the episodes and seems to have a better grasp of reality when it comes to the show than us.
She knows infinitely more than we ever will.
But tie no result is always a risky result to pick. So we'll see.
It is.
We'll see what happens.
That's why I like it.
I like it too.
She's at the casino. She's rolling the dice at the craps table.
Yes, but she's rolling, again, the metaphorical dice. Because while some of you are still in the running to win a PS5, to win an Xbox, a new Xbox, to win a Nintendo Switch, Shiose's not participating.
She's not.
So she's playing with the metaphorical dice. So if you are at the top of the leaderboards, just remember that.
That doesn't matter, though, because at the end of the day, if she's right, she still has bragging rights over us.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think she has bragging rights about a lot of things over us. So I don't think she has to get this one right. But
very true.
Shiose, thank you for your pick. And hopefully you guys will send your pick to YuGioHPickem@gmail.com. Standings will be updated very soon.
Hopefully.
And they will be. And yeah, those are our thoughts on 38, 39. There's not too much to preface. I mean, we're not going to talk too much about what's going to happen after this because I think that's a good topic for episode 38.
Absolutely.
Because by 39's Sevens Up, we should have an idea of where we're going in 40. I think 38 will be a big theorizing episode going into the season finale. So we'll read some more donations. We'll take some more comments from you lovely people. And we'll chat it out.
Sounds good, because we got a lot of donuts to get through. Drago77 Blue donated $5 and said,
Thank you, Drago.
I want to like Rook. I really do. But I think the writers are relying a lot on comedy onto Rook, and it just doesn't fit his character.
I wonder, I'm never going to get that theory out of my head that Shiose said that. Maybe they're purposely trying to make us dislike Rook. Yeah. For some sort of turn.
Now I'm starting to think that Shiose secretly lied to us, and she works for Konami, had insider knowledge on what's going to happen.
She's an official translator hired by them. They give her heads ups.
Right. And she's been lying to us the whole time.
And lying to the people, because remember, she does the watch alongs.
That's interesting.
So we'll keep an eye. Yeah. Shiose, we'll keep an eye out on that. But no, Drago, you're absolutely. First of all, thank you for the donation, Drago. Yeah, Rook. He's my least favorite of the 4 now. I mean, listen, his stock went down in this episode.
He was when we did this back in episode 5.
My favorite.
I was like, he was my favorite character, and now he's like a GameStop stock. He's just slowly.
But have you seen what GameStop stock did today?
It's coming back up.
It shot back up. So maybe GameStop stock.
That's why I had the reference.
Is metaphorical for Rook's character arc, where we all loved him. It crashed, which is where we're at now, and it's going to come back up. So we'll see what happens. GameStonk, Rook. We talk it all here.
7's up. You come here for Yu-Gi-Oh! You come here for financial advice.
Yes, I do have to disclaim we are not a financial channel. Do not take our advice on anything financial. We get sued. They told me to buy GameStop.
Imagine that. I don't think they would have any legal bounds even cutting a clip of this. It would be ridiculous. We'll get Judge Judy in there. Legendary Duels is here.
Oh, JC. I'm interested because JC loved Rook. So I'm interested to see if he's going to defend Rook here. Or if he's going to be more like, yeah.
It is interesting. He donated $5 and he said, I will always love Rook. But I will say this episode annoyed me a lot.
Wow.
This is probably my least favorite episode and least favorite Rook duel.
Wow. I was super interested to see what JC was going to say about it. Legendary Duels, as big a Rook fan as any.
It's rough.
It was just, the episode just, a lot of things that they chose to do with him just didn't really fit what he has done previously. To not even go up to his opponent and check in on him, but rather to mock him while he, walks by. The whole choice of that scene was weird, and it was, I might look back at this and say, I dislike this more than the Schrodinger duel.
You could.
Even though I loved the backstory for Schwer and Asana, I don't know. Legendary.
We could have done so much more with that.
Yeah, definitely disappointing Legendary. And what was otherwise a pretty good arc for him, but, we'll see. Hopefully he'll bounce back next duel, man, and I'm happy you will always love him. Listen, he's not ruined.
Somebody's gotta.
Well, no, hold on. He's not ruined by any means. He still has plenty of time to dance and do his thing. We'll see what happens next. But
I wish that.
Thank you for the donation, JC.
That he participated in that wind instrument competition. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see his life and his skills outside of dueling.
Yeah.
His sister would have been so
even think about that Django duel. He got very angry and fired up because of a silly reason, right? So there was still comedy surrounding that because his sister pushed him to the limits and whatnot. Yeah. But he was serious in that duel, And even though the reason was based in comedy, which is what we've seen with his character, and it works, that duel worked with Rook. But during the duel, this just was different. It just was different. But thank you again, Legendary.
Oh, man.
You good?
Yeah, you guys are crazy.
Can't wait to read this one back. I really can't.
Nick Schoner donated $5.
Thank you so much, Nick.
And he said, do you guys think Roman should have dueled instead of Rook, since this was his 3rd duel, and she's the only one with Gakuto, but his duel was better?
Yeah. Great question. Gakuto should have dueled Galliant. Nick, I don't. Actually, I think Rook had to have dueled Schwer in the Pigeon because of what happened at the beginning of this.
Yeah, and then his
of this arc.
I mean,
But I would have had maybe Roman duel Django. Have her duel Django.
Yeah, but the way they wrote that.
There weren't really many good opportunities.
There wasn't an opening because she's not going to get angry like he is. Plus, it's his sister that caused the anger.
Would Roman versus Tiger have made sense? Not really, because Yugioh was the one that inspired her. Roman doesn't really have that.
It doesn't fit. They didn't really give a lot of avenues for Roman this arc.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So, Nick, great question there, and thank you for the donation. I really just, there were no spots in this arc that made sense for Roman. She was just kind of there after the Sushi duel. This was, again, very under the radar. a horrible arc for Roman.
Yeah.
Really bad arc.
And her and Gakuto in this duel particularly were like the meta.
Well, I love
like
them in this duel. They were great. That was the highlight of this. Yeah. They were like breaking the fourth wall, talking to us directly. I will say this though, on the other end of it, because even though this was a very bad arc for Roman, this by no means kills her character or means she's a horrible character. Because I've seen some people, make that assumption. That's one extreme. That's not a good assumption to make. But it was a bad arc.
You run into issues, right, when you have 4 main characters plus a lot of significant side characters.
And this group had 3 villains, so one's going to get left out.
Yeah, and you only have 13 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, it's very hard to have everybody get their time in the spotlight.
Absolutely.
So it's a difficult thing to juggle.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, if they rewrote it, would I have had Rook take up 3 duels? Probably not.
No, but yeah.
But the way they wrote it, it's very difficult to fit Roman somewhere in there.
Yeah.
They would have had to rewrite a lot of that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just trying to think, Nick. I don't know where I would have put her in that made sense. So I would have definitely liked her to get another duel, but I don't know where I would have put her in. Now, granted, even though this arc was a D- for her, that's what I would give her in this arc.
Yeah, it was rough.
I still believe that she's fine. I'm not worried about her character long term. But if I'm looking at the scope of this particular arc, this was a bad arc for her. It was. First 2 arcs I thought were really good. This was bad.
It happens.
It happens, yeah. You can't
I mean, think about Gakuto. Gakuto was basically dead last episode.
The very first arc, I did not think was very good for Gakuto.
Yeah.
He became a meme. Yeah. The second arc was a little better at the end.
But he had some rough parts in there, too. In the second arc.
Yeah, and this arc, he was great.
Yeah.
So, listen. Plenty of time to turn it around. And if Roa's going to be more involved in this next arc, which I think he will,
then we'll get the band.
Roman will be involved too.
I
guarantee it.
Davis is here. Donated $2.
Davis, we hope you're doing well, recovering from your surgery, man. Thank you so much for the donation.
Yes,
Thank you, Davis.
Prayers out to you.
Yes.
Remember when Rook had devil powers? Remember that?
Wow. Wow.
That's a good point.
I hope I don't have to add that on my top 5 forgotten
he's been wearing the watch, right?
Yeah, they've strayed away from that. It's not enough time for me to say it's been scrapped. I don't think it's been scrapped, but I guess it just didn't have a usage in these last couple of duels.
Yeah, and he also doesn't really know what it is or how it works or anything, so it just didn't summon itself here in this arc.
Last we saw it was against Arata in episode 22. So,
but it made sense there because that was to stop. He was trying to stop the cheating, and then obviously he couldn't.
So we're going to be almost 50% now of the show. We had 22 episodes where that was a feature, and then we might have 22 episodes where it's not a feature.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. But they'll get back to that, Davis. I'm actually not... Sevens doesn't make me worried about forgotten storylines. No. They'll address that again, Davis. But it is weird that it's
I just feel like he doesn't have a lot of control of it, and also was it needed.
Yeah.
I can't think of a moment where I'm like, man, it would be really good to launch a mini EMP here.
Yeah, no, you're right.
There wasn't really a moment.
It wasn't really needed. You're right, yeah. But Davis, thank you for the donation, dude.
Kyle donated another $5 Brazilian.
Thank you so much, Kyle.
And said, I feel like Rook has 2 writers, one for serious scenes and one for comedic scenes. Episode 27, the serious, the one loses the duel and gets fired. So how about that?
Yeah, you want to speak on that?
Maybe they both, the 2 of them, they're going to have a duel, or they had a duel already, and one of them got fired, these writers. But you really do feel like that, right?
No, I do.
I feel, because what was episode 27? Was that...
That's when he dueled himself.
That's when he dueled himself. You definitely felt more serious tones there, and then you get an episode like this, and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah, his character was just, again, perplexing, and I thought he was just mischaracterized to a degree in this episode.
Yeah. It was strange. It really was.
Yeah, I really didn't like it.
Kyle donated another $2 and said, sad scene, Rook. I'm going to end this whole scene.
Yeah, no, but that's what happened.
He really did that.
That was a very sad scene, and I was actually very invested in that scene. I'm like, okay, we're going to get Asana and the grandfather taking them back to the cabin and nursing them back to health, and maybe Asana and Schwer can have a little bit of dialogue in this flashback. We're going to get a reason to really be able to relate and care about this group and these characters, and then Rook is just cuckooing away as he walks past them and struts past them, doesn't even check in on his opponent. I don't know. I just really did not like that at all.
Rubbed you the wrong way.
Yeah, I just did not think it was well executed.
A couple things. I do see everybody's comments, but I'm also managing everything here. Cammy pointed out what Shiose's message was, which Shiose saying it doesn't seem like the arc is ending exactly, possibly because remember that time slot change mentions that there's still also a Goha 6th.
Oh,
so,
I did not know that.
So that was something that was dropped in there.
Huh.
And then Elaine came in here and nice to see you and said, "What about that girl on the phone with Mr. Goha?"
Yeah, no, that's still going to be a thing.
So that's still revolving around.
And I haven't forgotten about that. I don't think you've forgotten about that. But that's an interesting point, that time slot switch, which is going to be around episode 40-41, actually I think it's closer to 42-43, says that they're still going to be at Goha 6. I actually was not familiar with that.
That's what they're saying.
So, but Shiose would know. That's a very good source. So that's definitely true. That's weird. That's interesting. That would make it seem like maybe something weird.
Asana's not going to win.
If Asana wins, dude, I'm going to lose my mind in a good way. Interesting points, guys.
I'm very interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, you can read the next one. I want to see exactly what episode that time slot switch is, because they're also taking a week off.
Nicholas Horton donated £5 and said, "This is the first Yu-Gi-Oh show where the main girl hasn't been mind controlled or brainwashed by the villain. So far, Nick. So far." We're only 37 episodes in.
Yeah,
time.
I think that'll last. I don't think they're going to go down that.
They've done a good job.
Roman. They've done a very good job with. Not only have they done it, and yes, this arc we bashed her. We bashed the way her.
You could say their brainwashing in here was starving her in the first arc.
Yeah, I guess you could make that.
But
case.
It wasn't by a villain. It was Roa.
That was her cousin.
Yeah.
Who also slammed her against the wall.
Yeah, don't forget that. Never forget.
No, never forget. Nick T likes to forget.
Yeah, he does,
which is concerning.
Very concerning, because they're music guys.
Right,
so
well, that's
he's
the thing.
Trying to give him.
Right, I think Nick T made the comment. He was like, "Yeah, he was just in the heat of the moment, and it was messed up." So Roa and Roman, mainly Roman, even though she had because Roa just wasn't here this arc. Even though she just had a bad arc, I still think she's been handled well overall. I think the girls in this show have been handled extraordinarily well overall. So quality and quantity. Great. It blows any other Yu-Gi-Oh show out of the water. So I'm not too worried about that, Nicholas. But it's a great point. It really is a good point. And thank you for the donation. It's greatly appreciated, my man.
Kyle on a tear tonight donated another $2.
Thank you, Kyle.
Fourth arc, Roa fights Mom, the band arc.
Oh my God, Mom fight, dude.
Dude, that
Nick T is in the show.
What if that's what Nick T? He's not here right now because he's recording VO.
Wow.
There you go. Just blew up the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Wow. Thank you for that leak, Kyle. So there you go. You guys have the next arc. I love that, Kyle. Thank you for the donation, dude. By the way, can you do ! Twitch on there?
Of course can.
Thank you, my man. I am streaming a lot over on Twitch, literally like 4 or 5, sometimes 6 days a week.
Yeah, you're insane.
Thank you. I am, but I love it. It's very intimate over there where we get to hang out because it's a smaller crowd.
Now, can we play some more romantic music?
Yeah, I'll play the whatever that music is. I need a soundboard. Please follow me over there if you're interested in more streams. We do Mario Kart. We do Fall Guys. I just got a PS5. It's in my kitchen unopened. We're going to be doing a Demon Souls, probably 12-hour stream this Friday. Maybe 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. You got to play that through the night. So that's going to be a spooky game, I'm sure. It's the only Soulsborne game I've never played. Only Soulsborne game I've never played. So, yeah, hopefully you can come by. And we're close to 1,350 followers. You guys are all amazing over there. Thank you very much.
Shiose also pointed out they're switching over in episode 43.
Okay, I thought it was 42. Because I thought they were taking a week off, Shiose. Isn't the last week in March they're skipping? I might be wrong about that. If they're not skipping, then it's 43. I was under the impression that they were skipping the last week in March, and the time slot was beginning first week in April. I might be completely wrong about that. So just look for what Shiose says to that.
I definitely am. Also, was asked, you have any Danganronpa is still on the table over there on Twitch?
Probably, yeah, probably. Who asked that?
This is Corlinium, it looks like.
Corlinium, how you doing, man? Yes, I probably will. The problem with Danganronpa and longer games like that is, they take 50, 60 hours to beat. Yeah. So I have to dedicate a lot of time to that.
Just if you're on 6 days a week, just the whole week is just you Danganronpa.
10 hours. If I did it full time, I might bang it out. So we'll see. it's on the table, but there's no plans for it. If that makes sense.
Maybe in some longer streams.
Yeah,
we could do something
absolutely,
like that.
absolutely.
Alan Wilkinson donated another $2, £2, and said, "Secret weapon to defeat Rook, topologic Navy." What if that's it? That's the connection.
Who said that?
That was Alan Wilkinson.
Alan Wilkinson, dude.
That's it.
He just figured out. He
figured out the secret of the show.
He figured out Sevens.
It's right there.
Topologina Navy.
Yeah.
Topologic Navy. We never made that "Call Me Navy" song.
Well, that's because Cal.
Hey,
in
I just
Florida.
dueled you. That's
why.
right. That's why. Yeah. It's not like he was here the last year and a half.
Exactly.
Hey, I just dueled you, and this is crazy. So here's my duel disc. Call me Navy.
She also said last week of March goes into April 4th, so it's the same week. April 4th is the time slot change.
Oh, I guess I'm dumb. I'm sorry. I thought I knew how to read a calendar. Obviously, I don't.
But,
so we're changing it 43 then. Okay, thank you for that. We're changing it 43.
Yeah.
But hold on. Let me see this. Let me see this.
You don't believe her?
No, of course I do. I meant last week as in the March 26th episode slot. I should have been more clear about that. March 26th. Isn't there no episode March 26th and 27th? And then it switches April 3rd, April 4th? I mean, I just could be completely wrong. Listen. It's been a long time
you
since
were dumb.
I worded it wrong. I should have said the last weekend of the month. That's what I should have said. Next one. Alan, thank you.
Next Dodo. Anonymous is here. Anonymous anime lover.
Oh, thank you so much, Anonymous.
Donated $10 and said, "Hi, Dylan and Pete. How's your night? It's going well. How was yours?"
Very good, yes.
I'll be streaming again Friday night at 7:30 p.m. I'll catch up on Sevens on Saturday. Long live Yugioh.
Long live Yu-Gi-Oh! Anonymous, keep killing it over on Twitch.
I would assume that's Eastern time, right?
Yeah, Eastern time. Yeah, she's on the East Coast with us. I always get, very thankful when Anonymous Anime Lover comes by. Not only is she just a great human being, but, I mean, in the Legends scroll bar, she'll probably always be #1. You've done so much for me, so much for my channel. Ever since I first started streaming, $10, very generous donation. Anonymous, thank you so much. Long live Yu-Gi-Oh! I love how she always says that, by the way.
Yeah.
Long live
So
Yu-Gi-Oh!
we're trying to will it.
We're trying to will Yu-Gi-Oh! 8, which could be announced at the end of this year.
Or this could be it. We're done.
Well, yeah.
We're done.
Let's not
That's it.
think about
Over.
that.
Everything. Whole channel's gone.
Would that be the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything? Do you think it would, realistically?
We would probably do some After Darks, I imagine, but for main content, probably
It could be over.
Yeah, probably it.
The channel would die.
We'd just be on Twitch all the time.
Yeah, the channel would die. That's sad, dude.
No, I mean, we still be on Twitch, so we still have something.
No, I probably have to call it, dude.
You call it.
No,
And you know what, too? We should take it a step further.
Call
our friendship.
Oh, call it. Oh, I thought you were going to say get rid of Caliber and Nick T's streams.
No, we could.
Yeah.
I mean, they're basically like... Caliber's going to be gone for the next month. He ain't streaming. His channel's dead. Shiose also said, Shiose has no idea whether they're skipping or not. It would be weird if they did, though, because nothing is happening in Japan besides the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, I thought I read that they were, Shiose, but I could be completely wrong.
No.
Your manager's probably correct.
And if we had Calibro here, he would be able to know the finances.
I know.
Of what's going
Well,
on.
see, and Shiose, that's why it sucks, guys, because if we had Caliber here, we would go over the financial reports of Konami, which I actually did a video. If you want to see the
two different videos.
If you want to see the 2019 breakdown of Konami's,
it's a real video in the channel, guys. It really is.
I mean, this isn't a Yu-Gi-Oh channel. It's not.
It's just a mess.
It's a mess of a channel with some Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's our lives that we just
some
vomit
Yu-Gi-Oh
onto you
content
guys,
on it.
basically.
I did a video analyzing, and I brought Calibro in as a financial expert.
Yeah. Two different videos. Two different videos. Remember that. Never forget that. And then Dragon Claw goes, well, there's still those legacy reviews. Don't count on those. Dylan can have a whole dead channel. He still won't upload those, so don't worry.
Legacy review is going to come out by the end of the week.
Yeah, sure it is, bud. Next donation is Anonymous again with another $10.
Anonymous, thank you.
Please say hi to Nick T for me. You can see past videos now on my Twitch channel. Again, long live Yu-Gi-Oh!
That's exciting, Anonymous. We will definitely be checking out some of your Twitch VODs. Keep killing it on the streams. Long live Yu-Gi-Oh! Thank you for another generous donation, and we will pass along your hello to Nick T. Absolutely. Thank you, Anonymous. That cracks me up every time, dude. I lose it every time.
But you're going to do another one of those. It's going to happen.
I mean, I have to at this point,
It's going to happen. It's a meme at this point.
Yeah, I have to at this point.
Legendary Duels came back and donated $5 and said, how will Yugioh be able to defeat Asana? He hasn't trained or found a new way to maximum summoning since their first duel.
Yeah, so great question, JC. Thank you for another $5, man. And I really believe the answer lies within the secrets that they're going to uncover with the old dueling discs. I think he's going to get some card, he's going to get some strat, he's going to get some sort of idea on how to either utilize maximums or how to defeat maximums. And I think the answer to your question, Legendary, lies in whatever he's going to find at the site where the dual discs are. That's my prediction.
It's possible, or it could be the old classic
Yu-Gi-Oh! Pull one out of your ass.
The power of friendship is how they pull it out.
Yes, I wouldn't be mad if they did the power of friendship.
Power of friendship.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a good point, Legend. He hasn't trained at all.
No.
Yuga's literally...
He's basically been chilling.
Ever since he's lost, he went to Go A6, he treated it like it was Hawaii. He's been sitting back, sipping a martini with his feet on the table at everyone else.
Let's go in this cave a little bit, but I won't even do any of the work to dig around.
Kaizo and Sebastian are creating a distraction.
Sebastian's dead.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Gakuto's going to duel Galliant. We're going to get sent to the... Yeah. I mean, literally, he hasn't done a single thing, yet he's manipulated everything. I love Yuga, dude. He's so...
He knows.
He's so good.
He's playing the long game.
Yeah, no,
we're playing checkers, he's playing chess.
Yeah. Yeah, he always. Dude, Yuga he's really good. I really like Yuga a lot. So I don't worry about Yuga. He'll be okay, Legendary.
X-Slayer donated another $5.
Jesus, X-Slayer, thank you, dude.
Can't wait for that new ace to appear besides Yuga to end Asana, the maximum monster threat.
So, X-Slayer, thank you so much for the donation. There was a Rush Duel monster that was revealed a couple of weeks ago. Based on the effect, it seems to be a maximum killer. I forget what the effect exactly was, but I know the design of the monster. I can picture it in my head. I have a feeling, X-Slayer, you kind of just spelt it out for me, that is going to be the monster he uses.
That answers JC's question.
To stop Asana and her maximums, yeah. X-Slayer, thank you, dude.
And then I hope that she has something to back it up, where she, without a maximum, potentially, she can kind of still be in the fight. Still be a threat.
Yeah, I hope so.
See her skills, you know?
I hope so.
Goose is here.
Goose!
Donated $5. And what did he say when he donated $5?
He said, sending positive vibes, and remember to keep it PG, positively Goose.
And kindness to everyone. Keep things PG, positively. You're going to get it one day.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Goose, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Goose.
Gifted a sub last night in Twitch. Thank you, Goose. I hope you have a great rest of your night. Thank you, my man. And thank you for the donation. You're the best.
Anonymous Anime Lover donated another $10.
Anonymous, come on. $30. Thank you so much,
and
Anonymous.
Said, one quick question.
Yeah, of course.
Did the bird win against Luke/Rook?
No. It's a spoiler, but you asked. Yeah. So I imagine you wanted to know. The bird did not win.
Yeah.
Rook did win. I think there would be a lot more...
I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I really do think you probably would not have done this.
I wouldn't have been here.
I think there would have been a lot more of an issue if the bird beat Rook. Although the way Rook acted, I don't even know if I would have mind. Like, the way Rook acted...
Like almost like he deserved it.
Yeah, almost like he deserved it, honestly. Like, come on, dude. But no, Anonymous, to answer your question, Rook did not lose to the bird. And I hope you catch up on Sevens. Let me know when you do catch up on Sevens what you think of this episode. A lot of mixed thoughts on it.
Okay, she has a second question.
Yeah, of course.
She said, I saw your ceremonial duel video earlier, and in my opinion, Yusaku, actually, it's just a comment. In my opinion, Yusaku versus I is the ceremonial duel, but not Soulburner versus Revolver. But it's great, though.
Yeah, so Anonymous. And by the way, the support you guys have given me, it kind of reminds me that, like, if I make interesting content, people will actually watch it.
That's so weird, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I make interesting content about once every 3 months now. The ceremonial video, the last I saw it, had like 11,000 views, and it was only posted on Monday, and that is really, really good for my channel. So thank you guys so much for supporting that video. If you're interested, I rank all the ceremonial duels from every show. That's like, you can just go to my channel. It's the last video on there. So I just wanted to thank you for that support. Anonymous, thanks for another donation. The structure is weird, because the protagonist is always involved in the ceremonial duel, so logic would tell you it is Playmaker versus I, but that's also the final boss duel, and the ceremonial duel...
Of the world is unlocked.
Yeah, and the ceremonial duel always follows the final boss duel, but there is no duel that follows the final boss duel. But Revolver versus Soulburner feels more ceremonial-like, but it doesn't follow the final boss duel, and it doesn't have the protagonist. I don't know. Reigns is weird with the structure of it. if I had to pick one, if you held a gun to my head, forced me to pick one, I would say Playmaker versus I is the ceremonial duel. I just wanted to include Soulburner versus Revolver because I think you can make a very decent case that was supposed to be the ceremonial duel. And, you could just skip through whichever one you don't believe was the ceremonial duel. And just exclude it from my list and say, all right, Revolver versus Soulburner, I don't even count it because I don't consider it the ceremonial duel. But I wanted to just rank it just for the heck of it.
A few people are shocked in the comments that they're saying that you still make videos. So they had no idea. And your channel is basically like a wet napkin at this point. It's useless.
Well,
it's dead.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think it's a little more interesting than a wet napkin. I think the channel still has a decent amount of potential. We plateaued. We plateaued months ago.
Yeah. That's all
we get about 5 new subs a month.
Right. That's your fault.
It's not my fault.
Yeah, because you're not making any content to build the community.
Well, I've gone to other outlets like Twitch. And, Yeah. I'm trying to become an influencer on Twitter, on Instagram.
And TikTok.
And not TikTok, but Instagram,
I see that. Yeah. An influencer on Instagram. How's that going for you?
Well, I've only uploaded one picture.
Oh wow.
So it's a lot harder than you might think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stick in your lane, bud. Solid Snack donated $2 Canadian and said, Yugi spent 17 episodes not dueling between 199 and 215.
Yeah.
Egypt stuff.
Yeah, that's true. There were really no duels in that period.
Your longest.
Pyramid. There were no duels in that period.
That does fit, though.
It does fit. Good call, Solid Snack. Yeah, great call. Actually, that's going to be our longest. I'm going to look more into that because that's fascinating. But Solid Snack probably has it 17 episodes. Kind of a loophole there because there wasn't really any dueling in that arc.
But still, it does count.
It counts, definitely.
It does count.
Definitely.
Kyle continues and donates another 5 Brazilian.
Kyle, man, come on, dude.
And said, Roman could have a tag duel with Rons and Pigeon with Rook, so she gets a duel and give more space for story than duels. Rons and Roman draw, Rook wins.
Yeah.
That could work.
That would have worked.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Roman.
So it would be, so it's Roman against Rons and the Pigeon, you're saying? Or you're saying it's Roman versus Rons and the Pigeon is with Rook? Comment that to me.
I think he meant Rons and Roman and Rook would team up.
Right.
And
against the Pigeon and
Rook.
And Rook.
No, against the Pigeon and Rons.
Yeah, that's how I took it.
There's too many R.
Too many R's.
So Roman and Rook versus Pigeon and Rons.
That's how I take it.
And then Roman and Rons would have a moment where they draw with each other. They're eliminated, and then Rook would go on to defeat the Pigeon.
Right.
So Rook and Roman's team wins. That could work, and then you combine the last 2 episodes. That could work, actually.
It's a lot of R's.
Not a bad. But would you do a tag duel in Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens? I don't know. That's a concept that we've yet to see.
We have no idea.
I don't know if tag duels exist. So,
no clue.
We'll see. But it was that's a good theory, man. It would have been. It would have been good to see it play out.
Definitely. X-Slayer donated another $5.
Thank you, X.
And said, what I would like to put Rook back in my top 5 is give him a character arc or had someone given him a nice whooping just for Lord's sake.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, X-Slayer, you kicked this stream off with that donation just saying that Rook is now your least favorite character. I'm not there yet by any means. I still think he'd probably be a top 10 character for me, but for someone that I loved early on, he's plummeted quite a bit at the moment. And
it's been rough.
On that trajectory, he's going to keep I don't want him to be the annoying character. Joey Wheeler, he was a doofus, but he was a lovable doofus. Rook was not lovable in this episode.
No.
He just wasn't. So, at least for a lot of us. So, yeah, X-Slayer, I think he's going to get a whooping. I don't know who it's going to be from. Would have loved it to be from Asana. Clearly, that's not going to happen.
No.
So, we'll see. We'll see.
And Shadow, yes, we did technically have a 3v3 with all of the hologram man, but
I consider that 3-1v1.
Yeah, it's the same character.
Yeah.
And is he alive, dead, really there?
I consider it 3-1v1.
Is it a recording they're dueling? I mean,
right.
Who knows?
Right.
So, I mean, a legitimate in the arc
2v2. You share life points, or you don't.
Kind of thing like that.
Share a field.
Yeah.
Because that's a big part of tag duels,
Yeah, when it was Aoi and
Akira.
When they went against what was that, 111?
That was 111 to 112, maybe?
Somewhere around that range.
Something like that, yeah.
Goose donated another $5.
Goose!
And said, Rook has been such a good character now, but I wonder how he is in the manga since he's the main character. I think they just leave the good stuff in the manga.
I gotta read the manga. I really want to read the Sevens manga. I saw one card art of the manga. I showed you that card art.
Yeah.
One of Roa's cards. My God, dude. Probably the most, like, PG-13 X-rated card you
It was
get.
something.
A really
It was
racy
something.
card. Yeah, just a complete 18-plus scene. I was actually going to do a video on it, and I'm like, let me not.
Said it to mature audiences.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I would have to. Very racy card that Roa used. But, yeah, so I don't know. I don't know much about the manga. I really do need to read it. I know Chapter 3 just got translated within the last 24 hours. J-Bex and his team have done a good job at doing that. So I've got to read it. I know he's doing OCG structures. I'm not sure if J-Bex is doing the Sevens manga as well.
He does a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Shiose said the Manga Lukr is not that different. He's just really into dueling, like, super.
Okay, but see, like, I feel like Rook was very into dueling.
I feel like he's into it now.
I think he still is. Yeah.
I mean, the king of duels kind of brought him out of the mind lab.
That's what you just got to keep reminding him. You want to be king of duels. You want to be king of duels.
And hey, it works.
It works. So keep shoving that down his throat. Yeah, definitely.
Kyle donated another $5 Brazilian.
Kyle, thank you, dude.
And said said I guess it is a thing.
Sometimes Kyle donates and he donates with comments from other people.
Shadow
Which is crazy.
Said
thank you, man.
Minimum summon. But I bet, hear me out, normal summon, he's going to tribute 3 monsters instead, using 3 parts monster, and then what is this word here? Kai Zibitan God?
He might have meant 3 parts monster, the Kaizipshian God.
Yeah.
Kaizo, I don't know. It's Shadow Ramsey, so he's probably trolling.
Right.
But he's hilarious. Kaizipshian, maybe Kaizo Shipshian? I don't know. I can't, either way. That's funny.
Imagine if there was a minimum summon.
Yeah, we knew about maximum summoning before we saw it in the show, I'm pretty sure. We just didn't know what it was or what it did. So I think when we get another summoning method, even if it's an old method, we're going to get that revealed before it shows up in the anime.
Shadow, what does that mean?
Shadow Rumsey, thank you for the donation, dude. Or actually, no, it's Kyle.
From Shadow Rumsey.
Kyle, thank you for being great, man. Thank you, dude.
Electric Kevin donated another $5 Australian. And
thank
said,
you, Kevin.
Who's your fave of the Duel Monsters trio? Yugi, nice, dude. Seto or Joey? There's no way you're going to what?
It's easy.
Nice.
It's easy in this house.
So who's your fave of the Duel Monsters trio? Yugi, Seto, or Joey? And which ace Duel Monsters? You have their blue or red eyes is your favorite. So obviously, Dark Magician.
Yeah, that's your favorite? Well, Kevin, I'm going to start and peek and think about it. My favorite of those 3 is Joey Wheeler. I like Joey. Yeah, I like Joey more than both of those characters. I think I just relate to Joey more as a player that was horrible at first, and when you put in good work and hard work, you can just be good at anything. By the end of the show, he's a very good duelist, in my opinion, and he's comedic but not annoying. He's a great friend, and I love his reliance on luck. I love his ability and his vigor to just kind of gamble when he needs to gamble. I think he's got a lot of balls, honestly, and I've always respected Joey as a character, and I've always related to him. I think Kaiba is out of his flipping mind, as you guys know, and I think Yugi's great too. But Joey and Red Eyes. Red Eyes would also be my favorite ace. I'd do Joey and Red Eyes all the way there.
I would probably do Seto and Red Eyes.
And you've watched for how many episodes?
Like 33.
So that's a 33 episode opinion, which is
so
fine.
So you're gonna
that's fine.
You're gonna say that Seto is just gonna come right back.
No. I just think that Joey's stock is gonna rise. Seto's Kaiba's a great character, but Joey's stock I think is gonna rise.
Well, I just like villains, so
that's fine.
And he's a villain rival, sort of.
So. Yeah, he's an asshole. That's fine.
I mean, he is.
Yeah,
but he's entertaining.
Yeah, in a sick, sadistic way.
Yeah.
We're saying the same thing. Yeah, absolutely. Kevin, thanks for the donation and the question.
X-Layer just donated another $5.
Thank you, X.
And so, what are your thoughts on the Pigeon deck and Rook monsters from this episode? Yeah, we did get another dragon or so. That ice dragon.
Ice dragon was sick as hell. Yeah. That cute love dragon was cute. I liked Roman's reaction to it. That was actually very adorable and funny. And the pigeon monster dude, he was awesome.
Yeah.
I really
that, like night style.
That night style pigeon. I loved that guy. Loved the ice dragon. The monsters were really good. Rook used a card called the Fire Dragon. I immediately thought it was Bastion's Fire Dragon. The one that we never got. Because in the opening of GX, you see a shot of Bastion and there's a water and a fire dragon. So you don't know this. That Fire Dragon never shows up in the show.
Right.
Never. And it never got revealed as a card. I did a video called Top 10 Cards That Will Always Remain a Mystery from the anime.
And that's it?
That's one of them. It's one of the funnest things to talk about. What happened to Bastion's Fire Dragon?
Something obviously had to happen. Was it too OP?
No,
and like,
it went to sevens, and this was the Fire Dragon.
That's it. That's the link between the second show and the seventh show. It's right there.
That was hilarious. What do you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed the pigeon stuff was good. I mean, I like a lot of times when, even if it's like a jokish character, that they have decks very similar to their actual type of like who they are.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that. And yeah, I think Rook has honestly the most interesting deck. Really out of our main protagonists right now. It's just, it's the other stuff obviously that we talked about. So
yeah, absolutely.
You should have 2 churches over there.
Yeah, I'm going to look.
I don't know if there was any more, but I only saw 2 Church of Flapple donations.
Thank you, Church of Flapple, for the donations through the link. I appreciate it. That feeling when the pigeon would have won if Bird Boy didn't special summon an additional monster on Rook's turn, because Mirror Gears can only attack an additional time if there's a monster left to target. That's true. Hashtag Subber Repent. Hashtag Justice for Nick Yagi. No, Nick T's losing.
Yes, absolutely justice for Nick Yagi.
No justice for Nick Yagi, unfortunately. I believe the last arc, Roman and Gakuto only had 1 duel. This arc, Roman and Gakuto also only had 1 duel so far. So that duel per arc really affects their character. Yeah, Roman had 2 duels if you count Otis.
Yeah. But it's just that this duel was literally over the TV remote, and that
in the very beginning when there was nothing on the line.
It just really undercuts it.
It definitely does. And then one last one. Guys, don't you remember this is the man who did the impossible and revived the Super Deep Rough channel? At this point, he can do whatever he wants and he'll be fine. Thank you, dude.
That's true.
Yeah. What do you say about that?
I say that I think you could put anything... You could do anything you put your mind to, and then I told you for a long time to get back on Twitch.
Yeah.
And you just finally listened.
You're right. Well, listen, guys. This was a blast. To everyone that donated, thank you so much. I mean, we were only able to do this because of you guys. I got to run to the bathroom. We're kind of saying our outros here. Follow all of us, the entire crew, down below in the description. We have links to everything. My Twitch, which I'm doing, again, a big Demon Souls stream this weekend. My Twitch, my Twitter, Pete's YouTube, Pete's Twitter, all the Caliber and Nick T's stuff. You want to promote, talk WandaVision, talk your computer situation, and some future plans?
Yeah.
All right,
follow this man.
Follow this man. I'll be right back.
Yes, I should say at the top, don't forget to follow Cal Breezy over on Twitch. I don't know if Cal's going to try to stream from Florida. He's going to be there for about a month or so, but definitely check him out. He streams a lot of FPS games. And then Nick T also streams Nick's Fights Moms over on Twitch. He does a lot of casual, kind of late night emulator games. He's great. I love hanging out in those streams, so please check that out. Also, he's a solo artist. Nameling NJ, you can follow that pretty much on Twitter, Instagram, everything else. He had an album release last month. He is an amazing artist, so please check him out there. He also, Nick T does everything. Nick T also has a band that he plays in, Mom Fight, and you can follow their socials, I believe, on Nick T's Twitter page. He has everything linked there. As for me, I do a channel on YouTube, Clueless Gamers. Right now, we just finished up First and 10, which is a podcast, an NFL podcast. Brian and I, my friend Brian, do. We just did our final episode of the 2020 season. That went up, I believe, yesterday. I'm losing track of the days. That went up yesterday, so you can check that out if you're interested. We also over there, the crew here and I are doing WandaVision episodes. And since Dylan and I are no longer... we do not have to do videos separately because of the quarantine he was under here in his household. We'll be back together for the 8th episode this week. And if you're wondering where 6 and 7 is, 6 is uploaded on the channel. It's just private right now. And I'm going to release that once I finish 7's edit, hopefully tonight. And then both of those will get released kind of as a double package there on the channel. So if you're interested in all the wackiness going on in that show, please check that out. And then follow me on Twitter at PeteVicaro21. Other than that, by the time Dylan comes back, we could just chat. So if you want to send any messages if you haven't left already, or you want to talk about anything, feel free to send something below, and we'll just turn it into a Q&A, I guess. Thanks, Derek. I had to cover literally me and 2 other people, so got that shot there. All right. So how is everyone tonight? What's going on in the world? Yes, the Pick'em League you could still do. What do you think of the BEV emote on the Discord? Well, at this point, Pink, it's just become a part of my life, that meme chat in the middle of the night, so I love you all over there. You can't post it if the mods are awake, Matt the Hero. You can't do that. Although you guys have turned that meme into posting it when the mods are awake, I believe, as well. Yes. We will get to that dono. We'll wait back for Dylan. Mega Karibo linked you over there.
Oh, Mega Karibo. Thank you so much. Knowing him, it was probably 666.
More than likely.
Let's see. Let's take a look. Let's see if I'm right about that.
Apparently.
How long ago was that?
They are saying he donated. I didn't see it on my end.
Yeah, a while ago.
Yeah, there it is.
666. There it is. Mega Karibo, thank you for the 666, Sin Devil donation. My problem with Sevens now is it feels to care more about comedy than the plot or emotional moments, especially after Ron's versus Renosuke, which I felt was a huge waste of time. I felt the old arcs in this show balanced the comedy and plot a lot better. Hashtag Team Asana. I don't fully disagree with that.
I don't.
Especially the last 2 episodes. Yeah. Where it feels to want to be more comedy than balance it. I think that's a fair statement to say. But
no, I think it's 100% a fair statement.
But I think Yuga Asana is going to be very good. So, Mega Karibo, thank you, man. And I know Mega Karibo really did enjoy the first 2 arcs. And, this arc is missed for a lot of people, but
I guess every arc in every episode has to hit for you.
No, it doesn't. And, that's the one nice thing about these quick arcs, where if you're like, I don't really like these characters, I don't really like this direction, 13 episodes. That's all. And then a new arc begins, and it's like a reset. But if you do like the arc, then that's a bad thing. So, there's a bunch of different ways to look at it. But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for all the love you've given me on Twitch. Thank you for all the love you've given me today via Super Chats and everything. Yes.
Shiosei just donated $5.
Thank you, Shiosei.
Shiosei's manager says she wants to be by the for the finale again.
That's hype, dude. I love it, Shiosei. Let's go. Shiosei. So
Shiosei's manager. She's always welcome.
Breaking news. Shiosei will be on.
Well, Shiosei's manager.
For Shiosei's manager. Well, it would be great. Shiosei's manager will be on for the finale episode of the arc. 7's up.
That's it.
I don't know when that'll be. So Shiosei, tell your manager we're looking forward to another fun discussion. We had her on, and she's able to get us to the Japan community.
Yeah.
Which was incredible. She was speaking to the people over in Japan, and I was sitting here like, man, I wish I spoke more than broken English. Because my English, English is
good.
No, it's not. It's not. You'd think it would be. So yeah, we'll make that happen. I love all of you guys. Thank you all so much for coming. COVID is getting weaker, so we're starting to have people again.
Knock on wood.
So hopefully that'll be a more routine thing with 7's Up. Caliber's going to be out for a while. It's just me, Pete, and Nick T. Come by, hang out.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Twitter. I just had my first ever tweet break 1,000 likes.
I know, it's blown up.
I posted a tweet around 4 hours ago, and it already broke 1,000 likes. I've never had a tweet in my life break 1,000 likes. Check it out. It's a giant rap meme. Of course it is. That's my whole channel. Thank you all so much for coming by. Pete, thank you for doing this with me. Thank you to everyone who donated and super chatted. You guys are amazing. This has been Talking Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's Up episode 37, Bird Brain. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have
an amazing day.
Take care.